So the plan today is to go to a thrashing. It's kind of like an old day way of harvesting crops. It's once a year, and today's the day. Now what's cool about these thrashings is it's all done by horse. Everything is done by horse. A taxi service. So in case you're lost, let me explain something. What you guys are seeing right now is the plow that is going to be tilling the ground. It's pulled by two horses, in this case two donkeys, and the gentleman sits on the trail and it goes down the rows, and then he tells the horses to whoa, which means turn, and they pivot without him having to move. So he pivots on the seat and the plow turns and it plows the ground. It's pretty amazing once you think about this was actually from almost 100 years ago that this was being done. More fascinating. Grab some lunch. Just before the thrashing actually starts, we did a little digging first. So what you guys just saw was actually a steam machine. Now that is going to be moving the belts to the one machine called a thrasher, and that's actually what we're here for. The thrasher is going to be broken down and to help separating the wheat. Now the wheat is originally planted and grown, used by that drill, and then harvested by a combine. But in this situation, there is no combine. That steamer is going to be used by coal, and that coal is going to eventually heat up the water, and cause those big belts, looking the rubber bands, they're going to end up causing that to spin. And that spinning is then going to lead to the thrasher. That's the moment we're here for. So that's the machine that the belt is going to, in between the two hay carts. And that's actually your wheat. So what they're going to do is the thrasher is going to separate the stem, the bristle, and the seeds. The stems are going to go to the end, which you guys will see just up here, and the seeds will then go into a separate cart. So once the wheat gets distributed into the thrasher, At the top of the thrasher is a red spigot. That's going to be where the seed is coming out. That's eventually going to get moved into that cart that you see. So once it's out the back and it turns into the stems, the hay, that will then be distributed, like I said, into hay. Now the first machine, that red one, is going to be your, not modern day, but not your prehistoric day of turning it into like hay bales. The first one is just a round bale. Not that's typically used nowadays, but it was an old method to quickly turn it into round hay bales. Now, the other method you'll see is used by the same steam engine with the same bands, but there, it'll distribute it into square bales. So what's it do is it takes the hay and they then scrape it and they put it into the machine. So they'll take it with a pitchfork, put it in the machine, and then that claw will then push it down into it. And what they're gonna do is they'll take all that hay, and what they'll do is they'll put a piece of wood, usually kind of like a barrel wood, and that'll be a separator. And in there they'll tie wires to it, and so once they've got enough hay in it and it's pushing it down that conveyor belt, they'll eventually put another piece of wood, and then they'll wrap it. So that belt then wraps the wire around the square bale, and then it'll be pushed off, and there you can see that it's got that big mount of hay. That is then your hay. So now you're all done with the hay process. So once you've got your hay all distributed and you've got your seeds in that cart is then going to be moved to the conveyor belt that'll eventually ramp it up into the truck. Now here it's done by 2 horses that simultaneously walk around the pivot, which then turns the conveyor belt and allows it to go up. So if the horses would stop, the conveyor belt would stop, and thus the seeds would not be moving up. Now they've tilted the cart and they've raised it up by the horses that continuously raise the cart up so that the seeds can then roll off of it and onto the cart. So then, once its seeds go up into the truck will then go out and go to storage. It'll just store the seeds, it'll sell the seeds. It's all kind of dependent on what the need of the farmer would do. Finally, what you guys see is actually a corn husker. So you take those corn cobs and you actually push it up a conveyor belt, the same kind of process, and then it takes those corn and it grinds it up into silage, and that silage is then eaten by cows, etc. And if no one's told you, corn-fed cows taste way better than grass-fed. Most of you people who are watching this who aren't from the city are probably eating grass-fed beef. I'm telling you right now, a cow who eats corn out of like a feedlot will taste a heck of a lot better than a cow eating grass out in the field. fun fact for you. I hope you guys learned something, if anything. It was actually really fascinating to kind of be able to come and see this and really experience it. A successful day of threshing, no bruises or scars, but ripped pair of pants. That's exactly what pre-modern day farming looks like. It's actually pretty cool when you think about it. Now, we just got back and we've already changed and got everything all situated. I had a giant hole in my pants, so it's safe to say those had got to be thrown away. But here's how the next couple days are gonna look like. Today is the 16th of August. We have to be at school the 23rd, and we have to be in Massachusetts by the 21st. The goal is to drive across country. Now that's gonna probably take 3 days. 24 hours, 3 days to get from Nebraska to Syracuse. But first we have to stop at Massachusetts so I can grab my stuff. And I don't have any assistance with doing that drive. I have all to myself. It's just me with that baby. We're gonna take that drive and we're probably gonna leave on Thursday, which is going to be the 18th. Today's Tuesday, that's gonna be Thursday, but tomorrow we have to go and shop. Now, my goal is periodically throughout the drive is to stop and see things and kind of get everything that I want to see along, because that's going to be a long drive and I don't want to do it straight. I want to see as many things as possible, and otherwise it's just going to be very boring. And my goal is to document the entire trip because, one, it's going to be my first time ever driving alone cross country. I did it with a friend between my junior and senior year of high school, and we just drove it cross country, but this is strictly me and that Jeep. That's it, nothing else. It's going to be adventure. So we're gonna almost Calvin Goes to College part 2. But yeah, thought I'd just kind of give you guys an interesting sum of how the next couple days are gonna go. I'm probably not gonna vlog tomorrow, but after that, all the vlogging is coming back because we're gonna be back in Syracuse. We're gonna be back into the swing of things. Chapter 2 of Calvin Tackles Syracuse is gonna be an adventure. But yes, it's still relatively day out. It's about 6:30 right now. We're probably gonna eat in about 30 minutes, and then I don't have a lot else. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you guys kind of got a taste of what pre-modern day farming has looked like. Now it's all done by machinery and it's a lot easier and a lot faster, but that's exactly how it was done back then. It's pretty fascinating how much technology they had, actually. But yeah, that's kind of where it all happened, and I'm glad you guys could join me in this adventure. But yes, thank you all for watching, and that means that the day is gonna end here.
Subscribe to Calvin. Here's the Stuff YouTube channel. Woo!